as now we head into the game, and it's a nice little skyline there, Dryad.
It definitely is, and it's a really pretty map when we look at it. But there's so much action when it goes that we kind of forget. But definitely something to be on the lookout for when we're looking at this map over here in Busan. It's very known for seeing that Senyata being played out, maybe a few snipers if some of the teams there, and a lot of possibilities. But from what our teams are showing, it seems like for this side of RIT, we are going to expect more of a brawl style composition. While for Delaware, it's going to be that dive. So taking the advantage, going to the backline is going to be what Delaware needs to win here.
Really look forward to seeing how Choco Man plays up against Blue. That Hammond, that Wrecking Ball, going to be so weak against the hacks if it gets caught out, and we're going to see how that exactly pans out. Blue does get hacked up, but is close enough to an exit to try to escape. It's pushed upon by Essel on this Reaper, though. Dangerous opportunity here for Rochester. They can just continue swinging forward, knowing that displacement not going to be as big a factor. Now, the Diva's out of mech. It's all up to RIT to just bully the remainder of Delaware off the point.
They clean it up really fast, and that's exactly what we expect from a brawl composition. They are going to take the advantage here, actually pretty much pushing into their spawn, and that's just the confidence that we love seeing here for Delaware. They're going to be changing their composition. No more dive for them. It's going to be once again their brawl, the mirror matchup that we love seeing, and now is where we start seeing the difference between both of them. But Rochester should be having the ultimate advantage, knowing that they've had a composition for a little bit longer.
Now that ultimate economy going to start to come in a little bit more effectively for Rochester, as they do have heroes with more than 50% ult on the board. See Blue Jay trying to hold down this front line, making it a little bit more threatening for that Reinhardt to come in. Eventually, however, Blue is going to push ahead. It's going to be Reinhardt v Reinhardt, but Essel comes in once again to intercept the action. Has that Death Blossom on the line, but it doesn't look like they're going to drop it right away. Will hold on to it perhaps for the next fight as well. Rochester certainly seems to have this locked up so far.
They clean it up, and there's a few kills that are coming through from the side of Delaware, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be quite enough, especially knowing that Chuckerman does have that EMP to come through. Also, that Death Blossom, they are playing really aggressive. Nate has to get the EMP for himself if he wants to make something happen, and seeing that Chuckerman have to before, they should once again have the advantage. They're playing this really well.
It's starting to look like a chicken or egg situation. Actual has the sound barrier. Nate has the EMP. The EMP goes out. Nate throws in a return EMP, catches Actual, not able to drop the sound barrier, but University of Delaware still hemorrhaging members. Looks like the EMP was a little bit more detrimental to them. We are seeing ZP Link try to throw in the Coalescence to keep their team alive, and succeeding to that effect, RIT now continuing upwards towards this potential last fight.
90%, and the kills kept coming through for the side of Rochester. This is a dominance that we were expecting from them. They will be pushing forward. They will try to not let anyone in, and the last pick is all they need to win here.
As we see the grab come out from a Blue Jay, locking everybody down. The pain comes through, the Earth Shatter, absolutely unnecessary, but still gonna be committed as we see the celebration sound barrier coming through.
And this just might have been the energy and the momentum that was going for the side of Rochester. They had definitely that energy going. They had more time to hold the composition and to build the ultimates faster. For the side of Delaware, though, I did like seeing the changes that they made throughout, where they realized that that dive style was not going to really work, and they wanted to run the Ryan Taria better. But it's definitely going to be a challenge now. They already have the advantage coming into this map, into this mecha base. You are already always expecting to see this brawl style coming through, so we're going to be seeing it. Maybe the biggest difference would be the DPS lineup, but overall for the tanks, for the support, it should be around the same.
We'll see exactly how they utilize this difference in the Sombra versus the May. The May has the opportunity to section off some of the opponents of University of Delaware with those May walls. We'll see what they can find, but Essel already throwing in some strong icicles. We can see them charged up quite a bit. The hack tries to come through from Nate, but the shield break, or I guess the breaking of the hack with the shield from Link, there to ensure that no benefit will be had. Again, the Maywall comes through. The Reinhardt now looking a little bit uncomfortable. Blue has to back up, regroup with their team. We do see Essel on that May trying to drop right onto point. Not able to be taken down, though. The focus fire from the Sombra not quite there as it needs to be. No. RIT are starting to swing in favor in terms of these kills. Blue Jay dangerously low, though, has to pop the personal bubble. And once that personal bubble is gone, they are going to be the focusing target of the Moira Coalescence. It will, however, be the Fire Strike that takes them down. However, not before RIT captures this point.
Very late coalescence for the side of Burnout definitely made the entire difference. They wanted to use it earlier to try to take the advantage. Now is sibling that is going to have the coalescence to use to engage as you should on this composition, and the disadvantage come from the side of Delaware. They have to figure out a way to come in, and the wall is going to block Reinhardt.
Yeah, excellent focus fire coming in from Delaware to break that wall as quick as possible. And now Link FD going to be taken down. University of Delaware goes in for it. The Earthshatter comes out. Doesn't seem to have landed onto too much. Hard the damage ticks come up. Just did not get the stun onto the Moyer Coalescence, which was so oppressive in this fight. As we see Delaware now trying to push ahead to Zarya, leading the charge. Blizzard coming out from Essel, locks down Milk, does get taken down by the Icicles. Essel then flicking onto the Reaper, able to buy a lot of time on this point for the team. Reinhardt still on the point as well. Burnout trying their best, but there's only so much one Moira can do. Gonna be helped out with Nate dropping that EMP, keeping everybody alive. This is a continuous fight, Dryad.
And now Burnout was the one coming out from top of the Shatter Bullet coming through. So much action going on. This time everyone wants to stay alive right now.
And both teams are dropping that sound barrier. Boop and Actual going to be trying to keep their teams up, but Rancer has a little bit of a better idea for University of Delaware. That involves a Death Blossom of their own. It's going to be the headshot onto Milk from Essel. May really looking to secure this point in a long fight, but RIT looks like they might just have it locked in, but the Reinhardt slowly pressing on to the Zarya. The personal barrier can only get you so much. It will be Blue Jay who ends up falling, but still, Rochester not giving any of this up, just continually building up that point progress as we take a little bit of a pause here.
Yeah, a few kills that were coming for the side of Delaware, but unfortunately for them, it wasn't enough. And we already mentioned it, the longer that the fight goes, the more it's going to benefit the team that has it. And that means RIT was looking pretty good. Rochester, we talking about the dominance that they had, and they are definitely struggling a little bit more. They should be able to come up on top at the end.
Yeah, you definitely have to think so. RIT has been excellent at kind of rotating this fight out, rotating the respawns into where they're never losing too many people at once, and so is Delaware, but a little bit to their detriment at this point, as we can see some of the replays from Sanctuary coming through. See Blue Jay dropping that nice grab.
Yeah, definitely. There's a few highlights that we've seen so far in his Rochester aggressiveness, what enabled them to get this point, and they didn't let it go. It seems like it's the same scenario that we're seeing right now. And once again, CP Link with the coalescence coming through has always pushed everyone all the way back, exactly using the tools the way that we wanted them to. And then now we're going to keep going with this match. Let's see what's going on now.
It actually seems like there was a disconnect from the University of Delaware. Nate dropping it down for a brief moment. Will be coming back in, but the question is, can the University of Delaware even make it back?
Doesn't seem like it's going to be easy. 93% already on the time bank, and this puts more pressure to them. Maybe Burnett can touch, but the grab is going to help them stay there.
A very high lob coming in from Blue Jay helps to lock, I would say lock down, but lock up is more appropriate. Everybody on the opposing team keep them from getting point, or at least make them be a little bit more rushed when the grab does finally release them. Maywall really putting the separation onto the Reinhardt, onto the Reaper. It's gonna be so difficult, but Rancer almost getting booped off, but their opponent has a few other choice words for him. It's gonna be RIT taking the win.
Just like that, RIT does take the advantage, take the first point, but anything could happen in the future map, so we definitely need to keep an eye. Delaware seems to have the right idea, but is struggling a little bit in figuring out the way that they want to engage, mostly because they stay way too long into point when that's just not necessarily benefiting them. I did like how similar the compositions were, and there were only a few differences that we could highlight, but overall, I don't think it's a matter of having this mirror matchup, but who's going to be more aggressive when you're playing this brawl style. So if you're going to be seeing another composition, that might put another composition to the table on how they want to engage.
Yeah, and to that point, I think that Essel playing that May was looking very good, not just because, the team was getting aggressive with those May walls, but because those May walls seem to cause at least the littlest bit of hesitance coming in from Delaware. So not only are you strengthening your own ranks, you're slowly weakening the opponents. I think it was a really good move there, and they executed it very well.
They did, and I do like seeing the May coming up on top. Unfortunately, it just for the side of Delaware wasn't quite enough, so I do want to see something else changing. Even if they want to keep the May for other maps, they have to figure out the way to engage it, and it mainly falls with a lot of pressure for the tanks, making sure they have enough space for the DPS lineup, for the support lineup, to get the space to get some more value like they want to. And they are playing this composition that we haven't seen that often recently in Overwatch. So I'm very curious to see if they want to try something else.
Well, there's a lot of opportunity to be a little bit more flexible here, particularly from RIT. They're going to want to keep that score streak high. But I mean, if you think you're at the top of the pack, you have that opportunity to be a little bit more flexible, to get a little bit more experimental with it. So I think, if anything, they'll be the ones that are more comfortable being that experimental, being that flexible team. Delaware kind of has to stick to what they think is going to be best, not what they can try to pull some tricks out with.
But I do like seeing the adaptation that we saw from Delaware, so I do expect them to make the changes necessary. If they think they can win the mirror matchup, I do want to see very early on. And they did try to do it right on the first point, and it just didn't get quite enough value. But that we do need to take into account that was a control map, so anything could happen there. Now we're getting close to the next matchups, which should be a little bit more even. We're getting close to Blizzard World, and for the side of the defenders, they should be Rochester trying to hold it for as long as they can.
Definitely like the look of Blizzard World. I always want to ride on those rides, but sadly, we're stuck casting in the commentators' booth, not able to get our ride tickets, our prizes, not even visit the snack shack, which is the true shame here. But yeah, absolutely right. Rochester going to be starting off on that defense. So we already see they're rolling out with that Ryan Zarya once again. They're not going to get too divey with it. They're not going to get too crowd control-y with it. Just some good old slugfests.
And from what I would see so far, they're going to keep running this brawl style, which is not necessarily that. I do like seeing this, but it just means that they have to have the first engagement. So if CP Link is on the more, the coalescence to engage is going to be essential rather to use it at the end of the match. For the side of Delaware, on the attackers, do you have Nate on the Widowmaker, that double sniper composition coming up on top?
Double snipers, but the snipers operating in very different ways. Rants are going to be able to wear down the shields of Link FD a little bit more proficiently than their partner Nate might be able to. As we see Delaware taking this high ground, a very advantageous spot for those snipers. We see the Roadhog Blue 17 trying to push up, break, or whittle down that Rhine shield as well. Roadhog can be pretty good for that if you let him, but you don't want to let him get too close to Essel with that Reaper. Can really start to put the hurt on Blue Jay, now starting to cut down their opposing team. Essel going to be using that to unleash the collar, push forward ahead with the damage dealing. And now it looks like the defense so far coming through well for RRT.
And that was a really, really good cleanup once again from the side of Rochester. They're about to have that blossom pretty soon. Now their main concern is to build that EMP. University of Delaware is making a few changes. Again, I do like seeing this from them. If it doesn't work, then try to figure out as soon as possible. They're going to be having this Roadhog. If they're able to pull a few of them, try to get some value out of this tank lane. That should be enough for them to take the high ground.
As we see Blue 17 way in the back, trying to just use those long distance shots from Roadhog's kit to try to whittle down the Rhine shield without putting themselves in too much danger. Still trying to perhaps absorb a little bit of damage, but CP Link going to be thrown into Coalescence, taking down Aline. An excellent opportunity here now that the University of Delaware further weakened RIT. Once again, continues to push the advantage, and now a little support on support violence, but it's Actual who comes in and steals the kill. Interesting play there as RIT continues to fight in the souvenir shop. Continuing to get the kills. Blue never stood a chance.
And they didn't even have to use that many ultimate abilities. That Coalescence did come through right at the beginning, but we know that Moira should be able to build this ultimate very, very soon. So in the meantime, for the side of University of Delaware, they almost have the ultimate abilities, but they have to hurry up. They don't have that much time left if they want to make this happen. They have to get it in at least 2 fights for them to have the confidence to push it all in the way into second point, and that EMP is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, keep an eye out for Choco Man. Burnout has that transcendence, but they may have to avoid this Sombra if possible. Sombra actually going to try to spot him out. It looks like Choco has the clue into where they are. RIT be throwing in the grab, not really comboing the EMP with it. Instead, it's going to be Blue using the whole hog, committing to it. Delaware wants to win this fight this time around, and going to be investing the ultimates to do that. The EMP does come onto the 3 remaining players for the side of Delaware, and it's just going to be a quick cleanup from RIT, who continues to dominate.
And it seems like they were going to struggle a little bit more with the T-Block at that initial pick, but it didn't seem to be quite enough. Now it seems like he's going to swap the composition again. They're not very satisfied with their results yet, and now a Reinhardt will be played, but only 1 minute remaining, and a lot of ultimate abilities from the side of Rochester to hold the defense. We talk about the Coalescence, we always talk about the Shatter as well to also push everyone all the way back to try to get more value with the damage, and this is one last opportunity for Delaware to make something happen.
We'll see if they can make it happen. They're going to try by using the Gravitic Flux, but this hack onto the Sigma prevents that from getting any value. Every single ult, it seems like, on the side of University of Delaware getting cut down, interrupted, and disrupted as it goes. It's once again RIT pushing ahead, making sure that nobody walks away from this fight.
And I'm not really sure if anyone is going to be able to touch here. 20 seconds remaining, enough time, but they do have to swap into someone that's a little bit faster. We do see the Lucio will be trying to get here, as well as the Moira. But with the aggression that we see from Rochester, they're not going to let them get the point just as easy.
See Burnout trying to give their team the healing to allow them to get right onto point. 2 seconds left. Somebody does make a last moment touch. It's the Lucio. The Reaper popping onto the point. We are going to be seeing the grab come out from Rochester just to lock down everybody else. University of Delaware stood no chance on that push. A rough spot, and for that they'll pick up 0%.
Really, really good control of the ultimate economy from the side of Rochester is what allowed them to win. They had a very good initial engagement into the first fight, and just like that, they were able to take control. We are seeing that coalescence always coming through just in time and allowing everyone to play for the side of the enemy. You're forced to go a little bit back, make sure you're staying alive, and it also, of course, healing the team. So doing everything that you can expect. Really, really good job, as we expected from the side of RIT, but anything can happen. University of Delaware might have some secrets into how they want to hold the defense.
Certainly, and one thing I noticed, RIT, I was going to say they have good ult rotations, but it just seems like they're able to negate University of Delaware's ults so much more effectively. The Sigma goes in for the Gravitic Flux, they get the hack on him. The Lucio goes in for the sound barrier, the EMP comes out, the shatters can get blocked. Everything like that, it just seems like University of Delaware's not being allowed their abilities like the Rochester team is using theirs.
Especially because, yeah, I do like seeing the changes when you find out that something's not working. But for the side of Delaware, we saw these changes happening 3 times, and that didn't really allow them to build any ultimate ability, which is essentially what they need to at least take control of the point. So now they are in a lot of pressure to try to hold. They have to make sure they're having those first engagements, and this is a good start. They are going to try to do the same thing that Rochester did, which was having the brawl style, playing really, really aggressive, getting those early picks, and just like that, hoping they can win. But one key factor will always be the Sombra. That EMP, once it's ready, is going to be really, really good for them to take control.
We do see Rochester on this attack, ready to poke in. Essel just trying to throw in some rockets early on. Nate on that high ground gets knocked off, jostled, if you will. And already the lineup for RIT is getting up into the face of University of Delaware. That soldier has to drop off high ground and commit the healing beacon to that CP link taken down. So RIT already lacking in these numbers. At least they would be. Tracer didn't pick up the kill onto Nate. Chacoman certain to deliver some effect of their own. And University of Delaware so far taking this a little bit slow as they need to. They're burning off as much time on the clock as they can, but they need to be very aware of Essel on this aerial threat. Without the soldier being there, it could be a very dangerous situation. Lean having to try to run away as they do get dangerously low because of that direct impact from the rocket. Essel now going up into the air and receiving the damage amplification from Mercy. Burnout throwing in the coalescence, trying to keep their team alive, and more importantly, trying to burn down those aerial units. They do not want to let that Pharah get too much vision over them.
And this is a tough spot for them because they don't have anyone who's going to be able to counter this Pharah. They're doing a lot of damage, but they are doing the rotation necessary to make sure they're staying alive. The barrage will come through after this hack, and that might be all that this team needs to take the victory. They want to push forward.
The big hack onto the Pharah is going to tell the entirety of Delaware that Essel has that rocket barrage. Just going to be looking to set it up, creeping over the shack right into the Reinhardt shield, but gets hacked out in the middle of it. Rancer, excellent awareness there coming through from the Sombra. Blue not able to sustain themselves with the shield alone. Will be dropping it now. Looks like Rochester finally got the damage they needed to. The grab goes out, and it's going to try to lock everybody down, but University of Delaware just does not have the manpower to really capitalize upon it. It looks like the reses are going to come through, only further reinforcing Rochester as they clear off this point. They are so close to finishing that first tick. They're going to get it, as well as the second point from Blizzard World.
Very, very fast map that we saw. RIT definitely coming up on top, knowing exactly how they wanted to play. They knew that they needed the ultimate economy to benefit them before they were able to properly push forward, and that's exactly what they did. I do appreciate that Delaware were trying to make the changes. They were making the rotations to try to stay alive, but it didn't seem like it was quite enough. So they still have a lot of work to do. We're trying to figure out. They still have one last map if they want to make the comeback.
It is going to be one final opportunity, one potential final opportunity here for Delaware. And then, if they do surpass that opportunity, they have to do it again and again. They have to win 3 more maps in a row. That puts them in a rather tough corner. Will they do it is going to be the big question, but you'll only find out after this break. So stick around. Hello and welcome back from our brief break, everybody, to EGF Season 2. Sir Waltham Andrade once again casting University of Delaware versus RIT. RIT taking a 2-0 lead over what looks like a pretty dominant fashion compared to the University of Delaware.
Definitely, and just having that full hold on Blizzard Royal is not easy, but it just shows the dominance that RIT has right now. They are doing a really, really good job. And one thing that we have to point out is that they've only really been able to run this brawl style composition so far, and it's worked. So I do like seeing this, but if Delaware wants to take the advantage, I would like to see them trying to push a little bit of that advantage, maybe forcing RT out of this composition. That might be the win condition that they need right now, and it's not going to be easy. But as we get close to what could be your last map, this is the last opportunity Delaware has to win.
And as we look ahead, it seems like Hanamura going to be our next map moving ahead. So how do you think that kind of affects, whether we'll see dive or brawl, I guess in an overall sense, Dryad?
From what we've seen so far, it just seems like teams feel more comfortable playing this Reinhardt, and here in Hanamura, we've seen a lower variety recently, and looking at the current meta, there's different compositions that teams decide to run. But overall, uh, for the side of the of Rochester, we've only seen the brawl so far. So if they want to uh, keep winning and keep having that dominance, I would not change the composition. I think it would be very interesting to see if the way that they engage with maybe a dive style, but I don't think that's going to happen, especially here in Hanamura. And then for the side of Delaware, we already see that they are also hinting that they're going to be playing this brawl. So with the same mirror that we saw before, and the difference is going to be in the DPS lineup.
And we'll see if the double snipers pay off for Delaware. Nate and Rancer once again going to be trying to go up against the opposition of Rochester. We see Nate taking that high ground positioning, taking a couple shots into the supports, and body shot into the Reinhardt mid-swing. As Link FD not going to be too bothered by that. They do have a lot of healing coming through. And Blue Jay able to take down a Rancer. It looks like that Zarya caught out that Hanzo just a little bit more than he should have allowed. As we see RIT now just confidently holding this choke. And it doesn't seem like University of Delaware has too much aggression to push through with just yet. Will be SL taken down. That means the tanks can have the opportunity to get a little bit more comfortable here. Blue, however, seems to be holding up just a bit, Dryad.
Yeah, they are doing a good job so far, but we'll see how long they should be able to make this last. They're playing very, very aggressive. And this could be a risky bust so far. Only one pick that we saw before. Now Nate gets another one.
Nate does get another one. This might open it up even further for University of Delaware as we see Nate focusing down that main line area. Reaper trying to strafe, trying to avoid the shots. Still looking like it's going to be Essel debating on if they want to get to point, but eventually they'll just turn tail and run.
That was a really good engagement, maybe even surprising to see from the side of Delaware. We're looking at the performance that we saw before. Essel does get the pick into Nate, but this shouldn't be really a concern as they have so much time remaining. He does get picked at the end, but once again, they have the spawn to come back a lot of time as well for the side of the attacker. So now what they need to figure out is the way that they want to engage. Roger, they're doing a good job trying to take the high ground here, but it's not going to be easy. They don't have any ults coming up soon that would benefit them. Chocoman, it all depends on him getting the EMP.
As we look ahead, the grab from Milk is online, but no dragons to combo with it just yet. Rancer on the slow build to getting them and getting that big combo coming through here. Choco Man gets the EMP online. The question is, how do they respond? Nate throws in the Imprecise at a dangerously low level of health. Sound barrier coming out from Actual just to try to keep the team alive and reinforce Rochester, and that's exactly what it's going to do. Delaware gets swept off their feet and sent back to spawn.
Blue Jay has been consistently good in getting those picks. I absolutely love seeing this from this Zarya. The grab always coming up, saving everyone else, and doing a lot of damage along with the synergy that the team has. But now, let's go. Oh, that was a really good shot.
Oh, no.
He gets, okay, he falls, but that was worth it. I think they still have a lot of time. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining for them. Now is the risky situation to try to get this high on. A little bit of a risky play from Nate.
We are seeing the abilities that come in from ZP Link, trying to get the anti-nades, trying to get the sleep darts through. Milk now the one with the grab, tucks it right in behind the enemy lines, and with the dragons coming online, not a lot to resist it. Everybody gonna get cleaned out by Rancer, or at least half the team. That's half enough for me. With Delaware now looking to rush on to this point. It's only a matter of time before they start getting more and more ticks. However, Choco Man is ready to drop the EMP.
Yeah, they're going to give him 2 ticks, and this target might come through, but Nate is coming up on top of those kills.
Choco Man drops the EMP, but is brought dangerously low on their own. It's going to be the nano boost onto the Reinhardt for the defending team. Nate on this high ground in the way back. It's going to be Delaware putting up a decent score on this board.
Doing really good. They still have a lot of time left in case this goes to another round, and it just seems like we can see the aggression that comes from Rochester when they're able to play this brawl. When you're defending here in Hanamura, it gets a little bit more challenging. Now where we're going to be seeing them attack, that might give them a better opportunity to try to match this time bank the University of Delaware has. But that was overall a really good performance. Nate definitely coming up on top when the spawns were coming through, when everyone was trying to stagger for a little bit longer. He just got 2, and that was all they needed to win.
Yeah, the unfortunate part there for RIT was that they used the grab as well as the sound barrier in the same fight, meaning they didn't have anything to respond with from Delaware, or to Delaware, when that grab and dragons came out. So we're going to see if RIT can perhaps turn their fortunes once again to get another win. It looks like the sim might just be coming out, but Delaware's going to keep rolling the dice with the double sniper.
And once again, this might be a little bit risky when you're playing the rest. The rest of the composition is going to be Brawl, but this DPS lineup is going to be the Ashe and the Hanzo, so that puts a lot of pressure into for for the tank line to be able to properly engage and to have the confidence. You need to rely on Nate and Rainser to try to get a few picks also right at the beginning, and that might not be easy here. They have to have a really good positioning, making sure they're staying alive, but it's definitely possible. They have to play once again very aggressive, pushing with the Rhine, with the Zarya, everything that they can with the bubbles to try to get a lot of energy. But Rochester has other plans. They do have that Symmetra that's going to be played.
Let's see if Estel going to be throwing in a teleporter to get the team right tucked up close to point. It's going to be the drop of the teleporter, but no, it's not going to be the side of RIT pushing in with the teleporter. Link FD brought dangerously low, needs some backup and needs it quick as Estel's only going to get more powerful as this fight goes longer. Both Reinhardts brought down and now no shields to really worry about from either side. It's just going to be the Zaryas in terms of mitigating that damage. Milk, however, taking a walloping as they have to back out, tinkering around that 100 HP zone. That gives Estel enough time to set up, and they're going to be more than happy with that. As now RIT still holds a good position here. Even if they suffer some losses, it's going to be painful for Delaware to push in. That's exactly what we're going to be seeing. The Coalescence coming out, and the push from Delaware results in only pain.
Even when they lose a few players, Blue Jays here coming up on top with the kills, making sure those find-out blows happening. Just like that, they will be taking first point. Now they have to play really aggressive. The opportunity once again for the snowball is there. They just need to make sure to engage very early on, catching Delaware a little bit of unaware. But we know that Burner does have the coalescence to keep everyone alive to engage, so it shouldn't be an easy fight for them.
They need to be very aware of how close Blue Jay is to that grab. One Zarya bubble or one Zarya grab can lock everything down. Rancer getting forced off the high ground, barely makes their way with their life, but now Blue Jay has the shooting gallery available to them. Instead, going to take it up towards the spawn side, right on the point. Get ready to throw in the grab. Does connect Burnout, using the Coalescence to try to keep their team alive. Link throwing in an Earth Shatter as well. Boop responding with the Salvator actual, proccing one of their own. In fact, looking like Rochester has the abilities to come online. Rancer throwing in the Dragons, trying to buy a little bit of space by themselves, any sort of clearance they can. No kills, however, as now just going to be stall staggers coming out from Delaware. Eventually, they will fall one by one as that point progress takes up for RIT.
It doesn't seem like for the side of Delaware that there's anything they can do. They will be trying to touch point, but it might just be too late. And on top of that, you're going to have Chalk Man with that Death Blossom. That should be all. And they actually do get more time. This team is unstoppable once they have that energy going.
That is quite disappointing, if I'm being honest. It looked like Delaware finally had some footing. They finally put down a very good score on the board, but RIT sees that, not intimidated at all, puts an even better time on the board. The Delaware's, that's kind of the backbreaker for them at that point.
Definitely, and it was just a surprise, first of all, to see Delaware doing so good right at the beginning of their attack. They knew exactly what to do, what to play. It seems like they did have a lot of preparation, but there are certain teams that are very good at attacking, not so much defending here in Hanamura. So this might be one of the cases. They do have the opportunity to try to attack again and see if they can make it a little bit closer, have that dominance, and they just worry about the defense for it to be good, because Rochester had a very interesting strategy right at the beginning. When we see a Symmetra, we definitely expect the teleporter to come through, and Delaware saw this and they pushed all the way back to make sure that the teleporter didn't get any value, but the teleporter never came. They didn't even need it. Once again, it was all just the picks that were coming from the side of the Zarya that enabled them to take the point at the beginning.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a little bit of a practiced play coming in from RIT. We'll see if they have any more up their sleeves as we continue on with Hanamura. Now RIT once again on this defense. University of Delaware, 2 minutes to get any points on the board that they can. We're going to be seeing them not come out with the double sniper this time around. It's going to be Nate on the Widow with Rancer on the Echo. See if they can get some good duplicates in. But Essel taking Nate out of the fight early means that now Rochester already has that man advantage, that power advantage when this Widow is no longer able to take your head clean off. They're not going to push it though. They're going to be a little bit courteous there. They do keep Essel on that little overlook, making sure that nobody can too comfortably get settled up there, especially since the Widow threat has now been established. RIT continuing to just throw in the damage, and University of Delaware not getting as aggressive as they might need to.
playing this very aggressive from the side of Essel, but that should be just enough now. Delaware does have a big challenge here, trying to push through this choke is not going to be easy. They do need the speed. They do have Book to try to give them the speed, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be now. Maybe the Shatter could help them out.
Taking down the Echo will certainly help as well, and then the Reinhardt, the res comes through, but because of that, nobody's able to receive the healing, and that includes Link FD. Now the Coalescence comes out, and Delaware does get some points on the board. It's not going to be a draw for them, at least not yet, with this progress being made on first.
They should be able to get this point, and now the challenge is going to be into second, just like it happened before. Essel gets another kill, just hiding, trying to get some value, but finally he gets taken down. It's not the first time that we see this. We saw it before on the Reaper, but now he definitely has to play with the team into the second point, figure out how they want to play, and the ultimate economy definitely benefiting the side of Rochester because Delaware had to use everything to get that point.
Not going to be a whole lot left in the tank for University of Delaware. They'll have to try to get any progress they can. They can't even capitalize on the late death of Essel as those quick respawns do come into effect once that first point is capped. Essel has this tire. Going to wait to bide their time, make this push as late as possible for University of Delaware. Takes down 2, and then immediately the follow-up is there from RIT. They don't even have to use too many ults off the back end of this. They're saving that for the last fight.
Essel does get 3 at the end, and they're looking pretty good so far. Only 20 seconds remaining for this side of the attackers if they want to make something happen. Delaware does have a challenge. No ultimates coming through. Maybe that duplicate could help them out, but they have to build it fast. This is the last push that they have if they want to win here. If not, we know that Rochester is going to play aggressive into the next round.
We now see the Gravitic Flux coming online, ready to lock down anybody who tries to touch point. It's going to be getting the Reinhardt, who's not long for this world. Choco Man has the focusing beam. And even if Blue Jay actually getting to eat onto Milk's grab, an excellent opportunity here. But it seems like Rochester's still going to have this numbers, have the raw force that comes on aligned Rancer. We take the duplicate form of the Sigma. Everybody getting locked down by that grab coming in from Choco Man. Not able to do a lot of damage, but sometimes the ult's all you need when it comes to that Echo. Choco Man using the focusing beam to take Rancer out of that duplicate form. Nate, not long with the Widow either, as it looks like Rochester is going to hold without the second point getting capped.
And it looked really close after that first point, but that second engagement is always very challenging for teams. Now, the biggest opportunity for Rochester is to try to play a little bit more aggressive, like we know they like to do. And it just has to happen with the same brawl styles that they've been playing. They know they can take the advantage into that mirror matchup, which has been happening over and over again. For the side of Delaware, if we're going to see something different, it has to happen very early on. Essel has done a really good job so far into getting those kills, like we can see, and I think this is also going to be a key for the win here.
Also, just something of lesser note. First time I've seen a Zarya get duplicated by an Echo in a very long time. Usually the Echoes might not be so confident they can get that charge, that energy up to build a grab up fast. But we saw it performed very well there, so many congratulations. An exciting thing overall, but now it's going to be up to the University of Delaware to defend. They have to defend for 3 minutes against Rochester. They have to not prevent a full cap on first if they want to win, and they have to prevent no progress on second if they want to draw.
And I do like the picks that they're making. The Mei is always very strong if you want to isolate the main tank, the Reinhardt. That's going to be very good, but it has to happen very early on. For the side of Rochester, they might try to use a teleporter this time if they want to take the advantage. Even going into the high ground would be ideal, and that would deny the possibility of making any value at all.
Now with Rochester having foregone the teleporter once before, it's going to set a little bit of confusion to come through. RIT once again not going to be setting up with the teleport, instead just going to be looking to push right on ahead. It's going to be Choco Man taking down Nate to start. University of Delaware already in a very terrible spot, losing one of each roll. The cleanup for the rest of them sure to be there. The Icicles towards that Lucio boop, going to barely get away into the waiting fist of ZP Link, as now it's just all point cleanup for Rochester.
Choco Man with the sentry turrets definitely allowing them to take more space and putting a lot of pressure into Delaware when they're also trying to make sure that they're able to stay alive. This didn't quite happen, and it's not looking very good for them as they don't have any ultimates coming through for the next fight. They just need to make sure they don't get picked. That's pretty much all you can expect. And Nate is also once again playing aggressive, gets taken down, but luckily for him, Tracer has a really fast spawn to come back.
As we look now, University of Delaware does come back in a very quick fashion. Immediately, Milk jumping onto point to try to defend. You need somebody on that point at all times. ZP Link taken down, a great opportunity given that Moira is not going to be able to do a lot of healing, and your respawns are going to get by much quicker. We do see Rochester continuing to push ahead, using this Blizzard from Essel to try to lock down the point even more. It's going to have to be Nate playing in a small area outside of the Blizzard, but that just lines up easy headshots for Essel. And with that, it's going to be an easy one tick given over, and RIT takes this 3-0.
Asshole also coming up on top at the end. We already seen how aggressive this player is, and it's just because they know how to get value out of it every single time. RIT, as expected, do get the 3-0, and for the side of University of Delaware, they had a big opportunity here in Hanamura, but it didn't seem like it was enough.
As we can see here, the Dragons into the grab, a classic combination that took a little bit of a time, but they eventually got it set up. So an excellent play there. Got some excellent results from Delaware, just not quite enough. 2 minutes left after your first attack. Still pretty good, but not enough to compare to RIT's 3. Oh, a thrilling game so far, Dryad.
Yeah, and it was just taken into account that the when we saw Delaware really coming up on top was when they were using those combos, when they were able to use maybe that grab and those dragons if it's necessary. And there's a few other combinations they can make, maybe with that EMP if they wanted to really use that Sombra. So if they are going to look into this, try to make a VOD review, try to figure out what went wrong, that's definitely one of the possibilities. And for this out of Rochester, they are unstoppable all the time.
Definitely unstoppable so far, it seems. As we look ahead, however, we do have a little bit of an interview coming in with Link FD in just a moment. We're going to give them a brief break so they can catch their breath after that absolute sprint. But now, stick around. You will be seeing that here in just a few moments. Hello and welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sticking around. And as a little treat for your loyalty here, we've got a special interview lined up. It's going to be Link FD from RIT. I like that little rhyme there, but Link, congratulations on your win over
Thank you.
University of
Thanks
Delaware.
for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a few questions here for you, but I really want to get into your mindset here because RIT has been pretty powerful these last few weeks. What was your mindset going up against Delaware? Was this another day at the office?
So before each of our matches, we always want to mainly just focus on the match in front of us. So we, when we're looking at when we're analyzing the game when we're playing, we have to keep in mind what they're playing, and we're usually sticking on around like the same comp. Like we were running Ryan Zarya,
Mhm.
Sombra, and Reaper, but our mentality we just want to just focus on one game at a time, pretty much, and it's been paying off.
Yeah, and on that same topic, I did want to ask you. So, did you ever feel like you had to change the composition? Maybe in Hanamura, where things seemed a little bit closer, were you considering playing something else, or was this something that you had the confidence that was going to work out from beginning to end?
So on point on the first round of Hanamura, when we lost first point, we were considering to switch to the Sigma and Hog, but since we had ultimates online, we decided to stay. And we were also going to switch off, I think, our support line off as well. But we ended up coming up with an interesting strat on the attack with the Symmetra, which worked out pretty well. So, but usually we stick with the same comp because we're comfortable with it. But if we want to try something, we'll try it out. If it doesn't work, we'll usually go back to what we're comfortable with.
Yeah, and I have one question, one last question that I have. So I do want to ask for that Symmetra teleporter that was going to happen at the beginning. So it seemed like she was gonna teleport, she was gonna put the teleporter down, but it just never happened. Everyone just kept walking forward. Was that planned? Was this something that you guys were planning to do, or
Yes,
just
that was intentional. We were trying to juke him out and basically obtain the space that was in front of us because they all went back to point, and that was our entire plan for that.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think it worked out fantastically. But before we let you go here, Link, give me the scoop. Are there any teams you're looking forward to facing, or that you think are going to be a little bit more competitive of a game?
Uh, for me, I'm looking forward to our matches against Arlington and Marist because they're the other undefeated teams. So hopefully those matches will be really exciting to watch and fun to play as well.
Well, I know I'll be tuning in for it, but thank you, Link, for coming in and answering a few of our questions. Before I let you go, I do like to give the opportunity for any shout outs you might feel are necessary.
I just want to shout out to all my team and my manager Jack for everything that you guys done. So thank you guys.
All right. Well, fantastic, Link. Once again, thank you for coming in here answering our questions, and congratulations over your win. Congratulations on your win over University of Delaware.
Thank you.
And with that, Dryad, that concludes our presentation of RIT versus University of Delaware. But folks at home, don't want you to think that the presentation is all over. We do have another game happening here in just a little while, so stay tuned. We'll keep you up to date. EGF Season 2 will be back in a little bit.